So this video is delivered to you by Sligo Leader Partnership under the SciCap programme, and my name's John Graham. So one of the aims of this programme of videos is to help you create a more harmonious relationship with your thoughts and emotions that you experience. And in the last video we looked at emotions and feelings, and in this one we're going to take a look more at thoughts. So in this video specifically we're going to look at the nature of thoughts so that you become aware of what's always happening, which can then give you a choice in terms of how you want to proceed. So in the second video of this series, we looked at where we traditionally search for good feelings. We also touched on what we blame for not feeling that way. So the primary cause of unhappiness, of anxiety, of fear, is never the situation itself. It's always the thoughts that we engage with about it. Okay, that's why, sometimes you could do something which you really enjoy and it might not be you might not get as good a feeling from it as another time. Or sometimes something can really annoy you and another day you pay no heed to it. So it's never the situation itself. Whatever the situation is, it's purely to do with the thoughts that you relate to about it. So this is why it's important to start to understand the nature of thought. Now, conscious thought itself is a good tool to be able to help us learn new information, to help us problem solve. But apart from that, it generally gets in the way of us living a peace-filled life. And if you think about it, if you're feeling frustrated or negative or angry or sad, is your mind pretty active or is it pretty calm? So if you're feeling this way, would you have quite an active or busy head? Or would you be feeling calm and collected and thoughts just coming and going? I'm going to imagine it was pretty active, and we'll look at why in videos 5 to 7. But generally we feel calm and confident and happy when we aren't overthinking something. You could say that calm is our natural state when we just get out of the way of ourselves. Now, research points to us having anywhere between 50,000 and 100,000 thoughts per day, depending on where you look. But many of these would be repeated thoughts, and many of these could be negative thoughts. So it's a really cool tool to be able to have to build our awareness to actually see those thoughts rather than be caught up in them. And if we can see them for what they are, then we can allow them to keep moving. We can be more at peace no matter what's showing up in our lives. So let's start to look at the nature of thought, and to do that we're going to play a little game. What we're going to do is we're going to count our thoughts. So what I mean by that is anything that pops into your head, I want you to count it. So if you hear a noise, that's a thought. If you notice a feeling, might be you're back on a chair or something like that, that's a thought. If you're thinking, are you doing this right? That's a thought. If you're wondering if it's a thought, that's a thought. So you just count whatever pops into your head. There is no right or wrong regarding this. Whatever answer you come up with is perfect. So get yourself comfortable. I'm just going to time this. And for the next minute, I want you to count your thoughts. Off you go. It's 30 seconds. And stop counting. Okay, so how many thoughts did you have? I think I was about 27 that I noticed. It doesn't really matter. If we did that exercise again, then you'd probably get a different number, and so would I. The amount of thoughts that you noticed, or whatever thoughts popped up for you, it doesn't really matter in this little game. What does matter is we start to notice the nature of thought. So, what are some of the key learnings from that? Well, one thing is that we're always having thoughts. Okay, that's just a part of being alive. Thoughts are always coming and going, and that's perfectly okay. You know, a lot of the time thoughts are coming and going, and we don't even notice it. So the more that we're okay when we're going to have thoughts, the more they can keep on moving, which is where we experience peace. The second point is, well, did you have control over what popped into your head? Did you know what the next thought was going to be? I guess the answer is no. We might like to think that we have control over what pops into our head, but really we don't. So it's to be okay with that fact that sometimes you're going to have negative thoughts, sometimes you're going to have scary thoughts, sometimes nice thoughts will pop up, or completely random thoughts, thoughts of past, thoughts of future. We have no control over what pops into our head. But as I say, if we're okay with that fact, then it allows them to keep on moving. And if they keep on moving, if there's flow, then that allows calm. The third point is that, well, what happened when you had one thought and then another thought popped up? What happened to this thought? Yeah, it's tended to vanish, yeah? Without you having to do anything, without you having to try and think a different thought, without you trying to stop that thought, without you doing anything. So if we're okay with thoughts and do nothing with them, they're going to move themselves, no matter what that thought is. So thoughts are always happening. Thoughts are completely random. And if we do nothing with a thought, it's going to move itself. And I'll explain more about that in future videos. The final thing would be, you know, how do we know that we're having a thought? And that can be quite a tricky question. But a way that this would be described, a way that this has been a metaphor for this, would be noticing yourself as the blue sky. So imagine there's a big blue sky above you. Okay. Now, big blue sky is infinite, and generally it just allows anything to pass through it. Okay. So what you might have are some birds. Here it could be seagulls, could be crows, could be whatever. Yeah, there may be clouds. The sky doesn't care if there's a black bird or a white bird passing through it. It doesn't care the size of the clouds. It just lets everything pass through it. It doesn't judge. It doesn't try to stop anything. Okay, it just allows. And that would be the same with what we call awareness. While we were doing the counting game, there was something which, it's tricky to put your finger on to describe it, but which was aware. It was aware of the thoughts coming and going within it. And every experience you've ever had has passed through awareness. Okay? So what we're doing in these meditations is bringing ourselves back to become more aware, to rest in awareness so that we can allow things like the sky to just keep passing through it. And in future videos, I'll explain why that's really important. So let's finish with a meditation. So just get yourself comfortable in your chair or wherever you are. If you're out walking, just allow yourself to relax a little bit. And we'll just start off by bringing your attention to your breath. So whether that's the air passing over your nostrils or your mouth, or whether it's the rise and fall of your chest or your belly, your shoulders, but just to start to become aware of breath. And remember, as with all these meditations, you cannot get these wrong. So what might happen is your mind might drift off and start thinking about something else. And that's cool, there's nothing you can do about that. But when you notice it's drifted off, all you do is just bring it back to breath. There is no getting this wrong. And now just start to become aware of the movement of the mind. So I want you to be like the big blue sky, which just allows everything and anything to pass through it. So whatever you notice, just to allow it. Whatever pops up, wherever it's taken, just to allow it. Just becoming aware of the movement of the mind, the things which are appearing and then disappearing back into awareness. And this time, if you notice you've drifted off into a daydream, whenever you notice that, just to allow that too. This is taking a break from trying to do anything apart from just notice what we notice. And just recognize how that feels when you're just witnessing things coming and going and just allowing everything. So why not play with this meditation throughout the rest of the day and until you watch the next video? Just giving yourself a little bit of time to sit back and notice what pops up, what thoughts pop up in your awareness without having to do anything with them.